Is anybody in here for April 6, 2018? Episode 8, Tim fills in. We're some guys who hung out together for a few years and then decided to start a podcast. We don't adhere to any format. We do interviews, social commentary, or any subject we think will make a show, designed to make you think and laugh. Email is anybodyinhere@gmail.com. Facebook is Anybody In Here Podcast. Webpage is anybodyinhere.com. To support is Anybody In Here, go to Patreon page and look for ZENYBODY in here. In this show, we discuss ghost boobers, we interview Tim Altork, we discuss passports, issues in the Dry County, and Abraham Lincoln facts.
Our buddy Tim is in with us this week. We're supposed to be in last week, but everybody forgot they're going on vacation.
Yeah. It's hard to do when your wife tells you when your vacations are.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. And, Tim Altork, can we say his last name?
I don't know, can you?
You just did.
Well, I can take it out.
Yeah, you can take it.
No, I don't care.
Okay, so, everything's working good. Okay. He's a newspaper reporter for sports, what do you call it?
I'm a sports
paper?
writer.
Sports
Yeah,
writer,
that's what
thank you. That's
I
what you
write
call
the
it.
sports.
That's what I call people who write words down.
Yeah, it's a reporter in general.
All right.
I go places and I write about what I see.
All right. That's cool.
And
man.
now also a sportscaster on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do baseball games for the Southern Union.
How many hours did you do last time?
Man, I got to tell you, those double headers, it's brutal. You get to the end of that thing and you're physically exhausted. Like, you sit there and talk, especially when I do it by myself. Now, I had somebody helping me the most recent one I did, so I was able to sort of let him talk a little while and give myself
Even with
a
somebody
break.
helping, baseball games are long, and
Yeah, but-
even the professional announcers have to find shit to talk about during like an ESPN broadcast.
Oh, yeah, they come in prepared with like all kinds of different topics from the sports
They
world.
don't. The producers in the truck do.
Well, sure, but yeah, they have.
It's not red for some reason. No, there it is. Okay.
It's recording.
It's recording now, so whatever we do, we just won't fuck with nothing. Okay.
Just don't move. Nobody moves.
Nobody moves. Okay.
Speak only with your jaw, not your hands or your legs.
That's hard to do. I got a lot of
I'm
Italian.
afraid.
Kevin likes to gesticulate.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so we were saying that you call in the baseball games.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
everything you have to find to talk about. Like,
Well, this is the thing. Play-by-play is very easy because all you have to do is talk about what's happening. So
Oh.
you could, baseball, there's a pitch every 30 seconds or so or less. And so if you don't have anything to talk about, you just talk about the pitch, the game, whatever, how the infield's lined up. It's all very, whatever's happening in front of you, you just talk about it. And if you don't have anything else to talk about, you could, the uniforms that they have on, it's on the radio, so nobody can see what's out there.
yeah.
So you have to sort of visually describe what you're looking at as you
There's
go.
a butterfly flying around the center field right
like
now.
The wind is blowing out. There's a buffalo painted on the fence that out in left field. He'd almost hit the buffalo. Like there's ways that you fill time. So
Yeah, I noticed last podcast, I borrowed something from my favorite radio broadcaster, sports broadcasters,
who's that?
Earl Manning. He always go, woo! I was doing that last podcast, I noticed a couple of times.
He told you to go, woo!
I think that's Ric Flair.
Well, Earl does that too. I do that too occasionally.
I guess.
Maybe because Earl taught me how to speak on the radio. So that's funny.
Oh well, that's a good lesson.
Yeah, he's good.
If anything you do like Ric Flair is.
Ric Flair, yeah, that's true.
So, Kevin, you get your passport today?
No, you have to have a birth certificate.
So you weren't born.
I don't know.
When's your trip? June?
I have no idea.
Where are you going, Kevin?
Cancun.
He doesn't have a passport.
I don't know if this is true anymore, but you don't necessarily need a passport.
You don't?
No, if you
go to
have your
Mexico?
birth certificate, which
You don't?
well, you've already
Well,
said that you
that-
don't have, but so maybe this doesn't count. But a birth certificate and a valid form of ID, you can travel internationally without a
Okay.
passport.
I didn't remember.
I went to Costa Rica that way. Yes.
For real, with no
Yeah,
passport.
sure
When
did.
was
No
this?
passport.
When was this?
This was about 20 years ago.
Oh, well,
I think they changed it up, buddy.
So maybe it's
yeah, I think because That a plane
They
crash
don't
or
change
something.
those rules. What are you talking about?
I think they're different now.
It's exactly the same.
So
So
you
when
don't
are you
have
going
your
to Cancun?
passport.
When?
Yeah, when?
I don't know.
He doesn't know.
Lose track. Sometime in
Sometime in the future.
June, July, I don't know.
Not now.
Not now. A month or two away.
Not in the past.
So they told you have to get your birth certificate, and you have no idea where your birth certificate is.
Right.
Which I think that's a problem for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't keep up with it. I have mine only because my wife is smart and keeps track of stuff. But if it wasn't for that, I'd have no clue where it would be. Ghost boobers.
Ghost boobers. Yeah, we talked about that before. That's
Y'all never really did figure out what that was. I can
Yeah.
tell you what Ghost Boobers is.
Oh, you can?
Well,
All right.
Well, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but if I were to make a guess.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you probably want to reply back to some of the
Yes,
dumb
I
stuff
got to
we
set
talked
you
about.
guys straight on some things, man. But anyway, Ghost Boobers.
Jackie was setting it straight the other day, too. So
Yeah, Jackie
Go
said
ahead.
she really got pissed off at her movies.
she was not happy.
I told her,
with
send
us.
some hate mail. We appreciate any kind of comment.
Any
good
kind
or
of
bad.
any publicity is good publicity.
Oh, yeah, but speaking of...
Well, no, I got to tell you what
go
Ghost
ahead.
Boobers is.
Yeah, tell me what Ghost Boobers are. I'm
Ghost
bad.
Boobers is the porno version of Ghostbusters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't
Oh.
know.
Do you think Adam knew this, or is he
He
just
probably
making shit
saw
up?
it, forgot
He's
about
the
it.
one that wrote the suggestion, right?
Yeah.
It
I
has
think
to
so.
be. Like, that's what they do. They take these,
Exactly.
they turn them into bad porno puns,
That would be a good example. I bet you that's what it is.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's as logical as anything.
it is.
What's the Stormy Daniels Donald Trump one going to be?
Oh man.
Stormy Stump?
That depends on.
He's
the,
got small hands.
Is he stumpy or?
But,
Small hands.
though, before I forget, one thing I want to mention, one of my favorite podcasts, No Such Thing as a Fish, actually stole some information from us.
Oh.
The notes do have one listener in England, so I'm sure it's a guy that works on that. So
What were
they're
they
talking
talking
about farting on airplanes.
Farting on airplanes.
Yes. They said the reason you fart on an airplane, because you get to that altitude, everything expands. And the gas in your stomach expands 1/3 to extra. So you got a third extra gas in your stomach.
Really? So it's not just nervous farts? For
Right.
me? It's
so it's
going to
because
happen
you're-
regardless?
It's regardless.
Well,
'cause
that's
you're-
why your ears pop.
Yeah,
when
the
you
air-
do- same thing. Same
Okay,
concept.
so you two, do you fart when you fly?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I don't remember ever having just an uncontrollable urge to fart.
I don't
on an
either. But
Oh,
I
I
mean,
fart on
after hearing that,
I try to do it like politely to where you don't know where it's coming from.
airplane. So is it? What do you attribute it to?
I always attribute it to like just nervousness and
Do you get nervous when
drinking.
you fly?
Yeah.
So maybe that's it.
but yeah, they said it's your a third extra gases in your stomach, so that's what causes it.
And plus, I usually have like at least 2 beers before I get on the plane.
That probably has.
Yeah, that gives a little bit more gas. Beers.
That-
2
the
beers before I get
carbonation.
on,
Yeah.
then like a beer while
You
I'm
got the
on
bubbly
plane.
in your belly.
So you might want to drink some wine next time.
I do sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take a
But
shot.
anyway, though nobody's complaining and you're enjoying sneaking farts, which sometimes is sort of fun. So you can sort of look around and go, put that. You can look around how
You
the.
see that disgusted look on somebody's face.
And what's fun is when you do the disgusted look, like you blame it on the next person. Go,
I usually do when I
Sir.
do smell
That's
it.
right. You look next to you.
Sir, my
I
goodness.
beg your pardon, sir.
My goodness, what do you think this is?
This
Your
is an
flatulence is unacceptable, sir.
This is an enclosed space, sir.
Oh, okay. So,
So we were saying you don't have your birth certificate, so you can't get your passport.
So we are trying to establish the fact that Kevin exists at this point.
yeah, I don't really exist.
Well, does anybody in your family have their passport? Or all of you have
no.
an issue?
We all have
Do
an
you
issue.
have? Well, the real question is, do you have a file or something for your birth certificates? Does
Yeah,
anybody-
we got our kids' birth certificates, but I don't think I've ever had to have mine for any reason because,
You better call your mama.
I call my mama.
Then she might have it.
Okay.
But you've lived in this same town your whole life, right?
Yeah, that's what I was reading. It shouldn't be an issue if you because they say you have to get out of the state that you're born in.
Didn't you just go on a cruise a few years ago?
Yeah, but here's the thing about a cruise. Everybody kept saying, get your passport, get your passport, get your passport.
I think I was one of those people.
But I looked it up, and to
Sounds
save
like
money,
something you would say, Bill.
being a cheap ass like me, I said, okay. I found out that if you're on a boat, you don't need a passport to go to Mexico because I'm not sure exactly why, but you just
Did
don't
you
need
get
one.
off the boat?
Yeah, I got off the boat,
Okay.
and I rode around Mexico in a Jeep.
You know they're going to build a wall, so if anything happens, you might not make it back.
That's true. But
Is that going to really? I mean, we're sitting here. We're logical. adult human beings. Is there ever really going to be a wall?
That's what somebody just said.
I would hope not, because it'd take a long time to build,
Yeah.
and I don't know how long that administration has to
Mama,
do that.
do you think they'll build the wall?
Yeah.
Oh, see,
I mean, walls have really.
Kevin bringing in some Pink Floyd.
But
Yeah.
the walls don't really.
It's
make
not
sense.
going to happen. I mean, come on. It's not going to happen.
You could take all that money they want to spend on that and employ a shit ton of security on the border. You're creating jobs. If you're really concerned about security on the border instead of a wall, then you just hire more border security and drones. And it'd be a lot cheaper. And then that goes back into the economy.
Yeah, nowadays, if you don't have a Social Security number and everything's going to computerize, you can get paid anyway. So,
I think the only people that want the wall are idiots and people who tag graffiti on walls. They're going to be super
It would be
excited.
nice.
It's going
to
to be
have a
like
big-
this huge blank canvas.
Yeah,
That's
blank
right.
canvas
That would be
they can
neat.
go
Miles
mess
and
with.
miles.
That dude Banksy will have a field day.
Think how many penises you could write on that. It's astronomical.
That'd be great if you could get them all just to contribute to like one big giant penis.
One
That would be cool. It's just everybody get together.
big, long penis.
Yeah, that's the only way I'm in favor
That
of the
stretches
wall.
the length of the Rio Grande.
Right.
Is if on our side, it's the penis side. On the other
we
side,
want to be on the penis side?
yeah.
Yeah. When we're doing an interview to start with, did we finish that, or did we just get off
were you-
track as usual?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not an expert on penis walls, so that's...
You are an expert on Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, we heard about that. Now, I was wondering about Abraham Lincoln.
Yes,
yeah. Adam
so-
said you're a big expert on
Yeah.
Abraham
He
Lincoln.
cut down a cherry tree. Was that somebody else?
Kevin, do you know your presidents at all? Kevin? I'm not an Abraham Lincoln expert, but I know he didn't have anything to do with the cherry tree.
Okay.
You don't know that. He could have.
Yeah.
It's just not out there.
Not documented.
I have a fun list of facts, in fact, on Abraham Lincoln.
All right.
Just throughout the podcast. We'll drop in random Abraham Lincoln facts.
Sounds great. That's what I was looking for. That's why we've got you on this podcast.
Tim Altork, local Abraham Lincoln expert.
Where was a good one? This was a good one. Oh, I just had it.
That's what she said.
He liked to eat chicken casserole.
Chicken casserole?
I know this doesn't fly with vegetarians.
Oh,
but
I'm offended that casserole was, but they actually used that.
what did they use for the casserole dish?
I always consider casserole a derogatory food term, in my personal opinion, and
Why
I
is
thought
it
it was.
Why?
Why is it
I
derogatory?
don't know. It just doesn't sound. What's the word?
What you're saying? Let me help you, Kevin. What you're saying is that
Our
casserole.
podcast a few
It's like you're
times.
at work right now,
That's
but you
right.
can actually correct him.
I'm editing you as you go.
Thank you.
Holy
Casserole
shit,
has
shut
sort of a negative connotation.
Yeah, and
There's a
I
sense
thought it
that-
was a '70s word they come up with, where they're talking about hippies and pintos. And let's not get this word called casserole.
Is that what your mom told you?
No, that's what you just assumed.
Where do you come up with this stuff? But yeah, I mean, because casseroles, it's just like a big dump of food into one
Right.
dish, and it's got one main ingredient. So chicken casserole has chicken, and there's a bunch of other stuff.
And I was
in there
hoping in
with it.
Lincoln's day they're more advanced than that.
Well, don't you think it would go the other direction, Kevin? Like if it was 150 years ago, they're less advanced.
Well, I mean, but less advanced, but more I don't know, but less socially advanced. You know what I'm saying?
Well, call it goulash.
Goulash, yeah, maybe that's it.
So they didn't. You're saying they didn't have the word casserole back then?
No, I'm just amazed. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying
No, I'm just going by what the.
I'm just
the
saying
list
I
of facts off the top of my head.
I
It'd be
didn't
like
realize
a
because I'm
chicken
an
pot
expert.
pie.
I mean, I just thought casserole was something that came around in the '70s.
It'd probably be more of a pot pie
May have been
because they might not have like the.
or it could have
Well,
been,
Okay, so
casserole
what?
dish.
How do you, Bill? How do you define a casserole?
I don't.
or it could be a word that we wouldn't understand what it means.
Do vegetarians eat casseroles?
Sure, as long as there's no meat in it.
But
When's the last casserole? What's the last casserole you had?
Hash brown casserole.
All right, see that's a
Okay.
casserole. But see, the thing is, what did they put? That we have now in 21st
I think it just
century-
has to come in a casserole dish.
That's what I'm saying. We have a 21st century word for it. It's a casserole dish. But did they have a casserole dish?
But
back
what
then?
if
Probably
there
not.
was
It's probably
what
that
if it-
iron skillet.
Yeah, I would
Iron
think it would
skillet.
be made of iron.
Well, probably back then
Cast
they
iron.
called it a ziblaga.
Maybe that's where the word cast iron casserole.
Yeah, it's for real.
We are figuring out history.
Shit, this is good.
You're much smarter than
You
Adam.
are. I know it. You're as much fun to make fun of, but
You can make fun of me too.
but okay. Oh, we are figuring out.
So you know, that's the first Lincoln fact of the night. He's a
Ooh,
big
I'm
fan of
excited.
chicken casserole.
So is there one thing that you were pulling your hair out when you listened to us about anything
man,
that
not
you were
just
like,
one. But what was
"Please."
the last? You were talking about one movie, and then you mentioned it was this last podcast. You were talking about a movie.
Apologies for the movie podcast, everybody.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Just to be thankful, I never heard the podcast we recorded called Quantum Physics. That was
The
pretty
long
bad.
lost, isn't it? It is sort of meta that your quantum physics, the one podcast that you lost, was the podcast on quantum physics.
Exactly. That's crazy. It makes you wonder if.
Like Adam said, maybe you guys travel to the future and
I think
deleted it.
Sam from
Yeah.
Quantum Leap came back and saved us.
I watched that show religiously as a kid. My parents loved that show, so that's late
They
'80s.
might be okay with this podcast thing, but that quantum physics thing.
Yeah.
Let's
Let
go
it
back to then.
Yeah, let's just leave that alone. But anyway,
Yeah, so with a movie,
I forget. It was something you said about a movie. It was you referenced one movie, and then referenced another movie, but you were cross-referencing the two movies.
I think Jackie said the same thing about.
You were talking about two movies at once then?
Yeah, and I forget what they were.
Let's see.
Now it's going to drive me nuts.
Well, we're not very good at staying on track anyway, so.
Bill's going to try to.
Well, I can try to look.
Bill's got a notebook.
Wow.
I did
Old
have those
school.
movies wrote down.
No, it wasn't in the movie podcast though.
No, what? Okay, we're talking about movies. It was
We're talking
another one.
about in the most recent podcast where you guys talked to Adam.
Oh, so that was the bonus episode we recorded after doing the movie podcast, but released after doing
this
Adam's
was
backpack.
the most recent.
Oh, the one where we did
where
when
where you called Adam in Hawaii.
Oh, that one.
But there was some just completely, sidebar. You mentioned some movie that was, but it was two movies. You
Created a new movie. Had two movies.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll have
created
to
a-
look that up.
a hybrid movie.
That's cool.
Yeah, I totally don't remember.
I don't.
Well, we're
remember.
talking about Cheech and Chong,
No,
Hamburger
it was
Man.
After that, it wasn't Cheech and Chong. We better move on because
Yeah, move on. I have no idea.
When it comes to
now I sound like I'm like you guys.
you
I
sound
don't know
like
what I'm
me
talking
now. Shit,
We've dummied him down.
he's been here too long.
Welcome to our level.
That's it. Okay.
So you don't know when you're going to Mexico.
No, hopefully I'll do it before I get a passport.
You can have a problem getting your
Yeah.
passport.
Well,
What
I read
happened to me?
there's some places on
You read what?
some places on the internet you'll get in a few days. Of course, it costs a shit.
Well, I have a passport story.
all right.
No joke.
Tell me a passport story.
I did need my passport to go to Europe. We went to Europe on our honeymoon, and
Well, when did you get married? Just how long ago was that?
this was
1978.
I thought it was 62.
somewhere
That's when he was born.
sometime after that.
Heather gonna beat
married.
your ass, Bill. Well, looking at Heather, it's probably 2010, something like that.
What year? Like it's 2003, 5, 3, 5,
Okay, that ain't too far.
5, 3. 2003 is when I was married. So we were taking our honeymoon to Europe, and before our honeymoon, I had gotten my license suspended. Have either of you guys ever been arrested?
Not
Never.
officially.
Not officially.
Well, when you go through a DUI stop and they take your cooler, and they say technically that's been arrested, but they didn't
They
put
didn't
me in
put
jail.
you in cuffs and put you in jail.
But legally, I think officially it was called being arrested.
Did they put you in cuffs? No, you didn't get
you
arrested.
didn't get arrested because I was put in handcuffs and arrested. And what happened was about 3 months before
Weed.
I don't know if I can associate with you.
Yeah, man. We got
married.
standards. Okay, let's just get Adam on the phone. Bye, Tim. We enjoyed it.
People are sorry for bringing
We
on
didn't,
a
we didn't know we
felon
had
on
a
the
criminal
podcast.
here.
So what are you, a terrorist?
Well, funny you should mention that. I'm just kidding. But no, I was arrested for the most boring thing ever. I had unpaid speeding tickets in several states, and was pulled over for an expired tag. So they pulled me over for my expired tag about a block from my house. It was 3 months before I got married.
Oh, man.
And so they put me in cuffs, hauled me off to the local jail, let me sit in there for 3 hours, and they tried to intimidate me.
What state was this in?
This was in Georgia.
Yeah.
All right, so this is in the suburbs of Atlanta. And so because of all this, I'm telling all this is going somewhere. Because of all this, I got my license suspended.
Oh, man.
And as my license is suspended, that puts a kink in your ability to get a passport.
Yeah.
And so what happened was I went to go apply for my passport, and they saw that my last name, this was 2 years after 9/11. Okay, so everybody's still on high alert. My last name has what some could interpret as a Middle Eastern
Yeah, I
Tend
never really
to-
thought about it
Altork.
because you look,
Maybe I had
Like
a weird beard back then. Like,
yeah.
whatever it was, I sent in all my stuff.
When is Ramadan anyway?
Whatever it is, I sent in all my stuff, and they were like, we need more documentation that you're who you say you are.
right.
And so I had to send in all of my bank statements from years, like I fortunately had all this stuff saved up in files somewhere, had all these bank statements and all these documentation going back years from when before I was married and before 9/11, all that stuff. So I sent it all in, and I had to get the expedited passport.
Mm-hmm.
We go to our wedding. We had a destination wedding, but we came back to Atlanta for one day before we flew out to go to our honeymoon, and my passport was in the mail that day before we left.
Oh,
and
man.
we got so lucky because we had to go through all of that stuff, license suspended. I couldn't even drive.
And you already probably paid your advance for your trip, too, so if you didn't go, you'd be screwed.
Well,
right?
that's a different story. That was a gift.
Oh, that was a gift. and
Yeah,
then-
I don't have that kind of change.
See, I had
Yeah,
a
then you
hard
couldn't
time
pay
getting
somebody
mine,
back,
too.
yeah.
Although I did mine ahead of time. It sent back like a packet. I had to fill out all information of everywhere I'd ever lived in my life.
Yeah.
Every
But
address.
Bill's had a checkered past. If you look him up on the internet,
Yeah.
I have never Googled Bill. I need to Google Bill.
Well, if you Google Bill Wilkinson, it'll come up. A buddy of mine sent this to me the other day. Apparently, there used to be a Bill Wilkinson. It could still be a Grand Poobah of the KKK.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, there was my buddy sent me an interview. It was like a 1982 interview on CNN with this guy named Bill
now
Wilkinson.
hold it. So I'm doing a podcast with a criminal and a Grand Poobah of the KKK.
Apparently, yeah.
Damn, we need to tighten up.
Kevin,
Yeah.
we're
You're going to
Dragging
find some
you
new
down.
people, Kevin. That's how we roll.
Okay. Hey, I'm
But
ready.
yeah, so we were thinking maybe that might have been something to do
Yeah, that
with
probably
it.
had something to do with
But,
it.
it might have. I
It
mean,
took
honestly.
forever to get my passport.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So the lesson here, Kevin.
I need to get my ass and get it done.
So
Get
2 out of
that.
3 people here have had a problem getting their passport. How do you think your luck's going to go?
I don't know. I'm
So
trying
far,
to-
it's not starting out so good.
trying to think of the things I've done. I haven't got caught a lot. I've done a lot of stuff. I got
You've
caught
got
a
it.
lot of
Well,
stuff.
you don't. Well, let's run. You don't. Is there a Kevin trailer that was
Ashley.
in the KKK?
Well, there's another Kevin trailer actually in my hometown.
And just to straighten this out, I am in no way affiliated with the KKK.
Yes. Just to clarify, we
Clarify in
just.
case anybody got all
The
butthurt.
KKK took my baby away.
Yeah.
They took her away.
The new theme song
Wait
for
for me.
Is anybody
That's a
in
good
here?
song, yeah. That's a good Ramones song.
KKK took my baby away?
Yeah, you
That's
never
a
heard
real
that
song?
It's a real song, yeah, by Ramones.
Never heard it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'll have to listen to that. I don't know, is it?
It is now, I think. Yes.
You're the
But
sound
anyway.
engineer.
We had a cookout,
Yeah.
and my sister-in-law and her boyfriend bought me some sausages, which looked like real, regular sausages like you'd buy, but they were vegetarian. They're pretty good. I like them a lot. He gave me the name brand. It's pretty good sausage.
Yeah, they've got some pretty good fake meat.
Yeah.
That makes you sick, doesn't it, Tim?
I'm not interested in fake meat.
Yeah.
You want some nuts, Tim?
I
Have you
want
tried-
fake meat or nuts.
Have you tried any fake meat?
Well,
I have tried fake meat.
we didn't offer him the shaft.
I've had fake meat before. Soy
Have you had the shaft?
soy cubes or whatever they are. What is it called?
Well, you got tofu. you
Tofu.
got
Soy
that's-
crumbles?
Soy. Yeah, that was.
Soy
I've had
crumbles. There's all
tofu.
sorts of stuff.
You know the
Seitan.
bean burgers,
Yeah, black bean burgers.
turkey
Are you
burgers.
saying CVS?
No, in honor of
Are
animals.
you trying to get CVS to pay us not to talk about them?
No, I had him one. In honor of Adam,
The reverse.
He always whispers, CBA. I think we need to keep that trend going.
Have some whispering.
Yeah, whispering.
All right.
You gotta go ahead.
I like the idea of the reverse endorsement, though.
Yeah.
Where you're, as your wife said, blackmailing companies
Yeah.
into not.
You don't want us to talk about you? Send us money.
Because I really don't know who would want to be associated with
Or
you
they
guys.
could sue us for our profits, which so far are 15 cents.
Oh, you've cleared.
We've cleared. No, I haven't cleared.
Oh, you've made.
15 cents.
Well, you call it a profit, so that's
It's
actually
not really a profit.
that's
it's
revenue.
Just revenue.
15 cents in revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're still in the red.
Right.
Well, fun fact about Abraham Lincoln.
All right.
I'm sure Adam would want to hear that at some point. So give us this one, and then I'm sure Adam wants to hear one. Because he'll be so sad if he doesn't get some.
Yeah, I'm going to save
knowledge.
some for Adam for sure. But Lincoln was the first president with a beard.
Was he?
For real?
That's what this says.
Did he wear one of those?
I mean, that's what I say because I'm a Lincoln expert.
Yeah. Now, here's one thing I want. I mean, back then, I don't know if everyone was, using Always Sunny in Philadelphia as an example. Which wasn't a very good episode, but they dressed like the breaking the Liberty Bell, where the Liberty Bell was broken by them.
I think that was rated the worst episode.
Exactly, it was a pretty crappy episode, but it brings an interesting point that at that time they wore makeup and wigs. So,
Powdered wigs,
powdered
not just
wig-
wigs,
yeah.
but they put makeup in their wigs.
They did. Shit.
Well, that's what a powder is, right?
Well, I guess at that time Lincoln was out of that. They're growing out of this phase. That might be the first why they had a beard, because all these men were trying to get a little bit more macho.
They were getting out of the Boy George.
Well, they probably.
Was Boy George around? This is the 1880s, Bill, not
Boy George Washington.
Well, that's probably when
Come
when the bear was invented.
When the what?
Bear, the one who has the power bottom. We're talking about homosexual sex.
Oh. When was the bear invented, Kevin?
That's my guess. When they quit using wigs and makeup,
Oh.
so they needed,
How do you know so much about this?
I was watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode.
So are you saying all gay guys back then wore wigs and makeup?
Well,
Or the fact that they wore wigs and makeup
I
means
said
they
there
were
are a
gay.
few. There are a few, and then they started using bears were invented, and they realized that necessarily had to wear a
So
wig. and
Lincoln
makeup.
was a bear.
Yeah. Well, no.
You're saying Abraham Lincoln was the
Oh,
first
exactly.
gay president?
I don't think he's saying he was the first one because apparently all these other guys that were wearing wigs and makeup were gay too. This is what
every president gay?
I don't want to put words in your mouth, Kevin.
Well, there is.
But you just said everyone was gay.
There is a gentleman. Well, let's go back a little bit. There's a
You
gentleman.
listen to some crazy podcast.
There is a gentleman. I can't remember his name at the moment. Who believes that everybody who's been elected president in power, in any kind of relevant political power, is actually a lizard from another dimension.
That's idiotic.
This guy's irritating.
I think we
to.
talked about that with Roddy Piper movie.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Yeah.
I first heard him on it. You know that. Well, Bill shared.
Everybody is a lizard?
Well, Bill shared this video called "Immigrants" with what's his name in it?
Oh, God, what's the guy's name? The British comedian.
British
long
comedian.
hair. He was dating Katy Perry.
Yeah, get
for a
Katy
while.
Perry. for a while.
Russell Brand.
Russell
Yeah,
Brand.
that's
yes.
where I heard it. Russell Brand had
This
a
is
TV
why you
talk
need
show.
me, people.
Yeah.
Like that.
So Russell Brand
Adam
had a
never
talk
would've
show.
known.
Adam would not know Russell
He would
Brand.
have said Tom Cruise?
He would have said,
Hey,
Sleepless in Seattle?
but anyway,
Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan had a talk show.
Kevin just said Tom Cruise.
Russell Brand had a
Russell
talk
Brand.
show,
Yes.
and that's where I first heard about this lizard dude who swears that all political leaders are actually lizards from another dimension, including Margaret Thatcher, Obama at the time he's talking about, and all of them.
Obama doesn't
Every
really seem like a
president.
lizard, but I mean,
Well, he
Donald
says
Trump.
Yeah, he says there's actually photographs of.
He's got the dinosaur arms.
Right.
He got little
You've
hands.
seen him drink water. He's got.
You know what those mean?
His skin is kind of an odd color. It's not natural. Maybe he is. The lizard theory, yeah, the
Anyway.
current president anyway.
So what were we talking about?
I don't know. You were talking about lizard. We were talking about Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham
Yeah.
Lincoln being the first president with a beard.
Oh, with a beard. Okay, I
And
never
you said
heard.
he
first
was-
bear.
You
Gay
said he-
guy.
Yeah.
I was just teasing. I have no factual base for that.
If anybody from the Lincoln family does not want us to talk about Abraham Lincoln, Please, you can send money, and we won't ever talk about him again.
And preferably, it doesn't have Lincoln on
Oh,
the
wait,
money.
wait. This brings us to another Lincoln fact. Hang on.
Woo! Woo!
I saw it earlier. There are no direct living descendants of Abraham Lincoln.
What the hell happened?
You have problems with sperm?
Well, I guess if you're gay,
If you're
and
gay,
just,
there's not a lot of offspring.
dudes
That's
aren't
true.
really going to get pregnant.
Unless you adopt, but that wouldn't be a direct descendant.
No, that'd be
I'm trying to
no
be
direct
inclusive,
descendant.
you know.
Yeah. You need to be inclusive.
So him and what was his wife's name?
Okay, so here's the
Mary?
Mary Todd.
Mary Thomas.
Mary Todd. All right. This boy knows such Lincoln shit.
That's not even. That's right off the top of my head, boys. Mary
So
Todd.
Lincoln, Alabama. How many people live there?
Lincoln, Alabama.
Yeah.
And was it named after Abraham Lincoln?
1,688.
Wow, this dude's smart.
How many toys have the word Lincoln in them?
That's why he's a trivia host. He's a damn good trivia host.
There's Lincoln Logs, and that's all. I don't know. Maybe
many
the
cars?
Abraham Lincoln action figure.
There's the Lincoln
What about the
Continental.
vampire Abraham Lincoln movie? Did you?
Jackie talked about that movie and watched it. I
Actually-
cannot bring myself to watch
I
that
actually
movie.
tried to watch it, I think, one
You
time.
did
Or
try
maybe
to
I
watch
just imagined I watched it. One of the other, yeah.
Well, which one was it, Kevin? Did you
I don't
watch
know.
it, or-
Because I still can't figure out whether they actually saw Waylon Jennings or imagined I went to see him. Still haven't verified that yet.
Were you on mushrooms?
I was on something.
So
You must have been.
let's rewind. You don't know if you did or did not go see Waylon
Well, it
Jennings.
seems like I went to Jacksonville State University and I saw
Oh, is that
Waylon
what you said?
Jennings.
Waylon Jennings.
Waylon Jennings.
A
yes.
Waylon Jennings concert?
concert, right?
So you think you went to one?
Well, I know somebody who thinks they saw Charlie Daniels in Walmart singing.
People see things all the time.
That's what we told her. But she swears she saw that, so maybe, I don't know.
We need to figure out if you went to this concert.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we got to explore this, Kevin.
I'll do some research. I was driving through.
Okay, so wait a minute.
So
wait a
put
minute.
it
Wait a
at
minute.
Jacksonville State Coliseum.
No, it
So
was.
there was a Waylon Jennings concert. This is what you do know that this concert happened.
No.
You don't know that it even happened.
Just think I went to it.
I don't think you went to it, Kevin.
And I drove.
That's my vote.
Well, I drove through Jacksonville University the other day, and I drove.
Listening to Waylon Jennings.
And I saw a big area that looks sort of like that was the area they had it at.
So it was an outdoor concert.
Yeah, it was an outdoor concert.
Hmm.
So anyway.
Waylon Jennings. Wasn't he the one that?
Just a good old
Yeah,
boy.
the Dukes of Hazzard. That's what I was going to say.
And many other songs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but he the Ballad of the Dukes.
Yeah, that's it.
That was
That was a good.
That's
that was
classic.
probably the biggest one he did.
Yeah. You think?
I don't know.
Did he really do it?
was
Do
he a-
what?
That's the biggest one. Was he a bear?
Yeah. He was well, it was,
Is that why he had the beard?
it's all about the being a power bottom, which makes you a good bear.
Oh,
Stealing more lines from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Do you want me to break out the jar?
Yeah, let's break out
we
the
already
jar.
been in the jar.
Not the moonshine, Kevin.
Okay, not that jar. Okay.
Be nice to have a little bit of moonshine, wouldn't it?
Boy,
Yes.
oh boy.
Not that I would ever make any because it's illegal.
Exactly.
But in Mother Earth News, and
Mother Earth.
they advertise like those little small stills, those the copper stills, makes a really small batch.
Right.
But that'd be cool as shit to do, wouldn't it?
I've brewed my own beer. Before.
I've brewed beer before.
Yeah. Illegally, apparently, before I knew it was illegal.
Yeah. I
Well,
did that
I
with
think-
weed one time.
I think as long as you don't. Well, yeah, in Alabama, I guess it is illegal.
I think
to
it's
home brew.
illegal to brew your own beer in your home.
Here, I think. In
thought
Delaware,
you-
it isn't.
Well, when it's dry, you come. But can't you brew like so much?
Well, this was when the county was dry.
When it was dry, you can brew shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is how backwards the area we live in. It was a dry county. You couldn't buy any alcohol anywhere in it,
For a
but
long
you could
time.
drive next to the county next door and to
Which
the state next
is-
door.
The state's 7 miles away. The county is probably 7 miles
Yeah,
away
it's
too.
equally.
it's about the
so
same.
tax
About the
dollars
same.
are just
Yeah.
going. Everybody was drinking. They were just paying
Going
Georgia
everywhere
and
else
the other
to
county for
buy.
it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Or going
took a big vote to get that overturned.
or going to a certain area of town and pay a higher premium, but not have to drive as far.
yeah,
In other words, bootleggers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So-
people that are brewing it in their own house.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I know a couple that moved here. He never told his wife it was a dry county, and she went to the Piggly Wiggly and asked him where their wine was, and that's how she found out. Oh, honey, that's illegal. She said she had a meltdown right there.
I bet she did. I remember one time
She probably thought she was being pranked or something. Like, how is this even possible in the 21st century? Like,
Yeah.
and it was what, 8 or 9 years ago that this was changed. Like, it was not that long.
No, it wasn't even that.
It wasn't even that long.
5 years. We've been in business.
Is it 5 years?
So 6, a little over
Yes,
6
yeah,
years
second
now.
year, yeah.
A little over
So-
6 years.
Okay, so it was, yeah.
Yeah, it ain't been long.
It hasn't been long.
Yeah, they came close in the election before that and just barely missed it. And
Yeah.
then the last election where they got it voted in, like it was unanimously. It was like 70.
Somebody explain what, like, I like to think that there are laws like that for a reason. Like, somebody thought it was a good idea to not be able to sell alcohol in our locale, giving them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, from that standpoint, what was the reason?
My theory is you got the churches, which we have a lot of churches in this area.
Right.
And also we have a lot of bootleggers in this area. So you have those on the same side. That's why I think
And
we stayed
they
dry
would
so
go
long.
around and get everybody in the church
Yeah,
to
so-
make sure it stayed.
Exactly. So they encourage the church
I had never thought of that, but that's a pretty good
So that's
theory.
my
And then
theory.
one day, everybody's going to look back on the marijuana prohibition in the same way. A lot of states have already changed their laws. You know, Alabama would be one of the last to do it.
Right.
But they'll look at it the same way. Like, oh, my God, like, you had that illegal. Like, so therefore, all that tax money and everything.
It's just going in somebody's pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going
So-
in the cartel's pocket.
Yeah, and the good thing about, marijuana is you don't see very many people taking off their shirt and going and whipping somebody's ass.
No, and
They're
I
smoking
saw a thing
marijuana.
today. The
Like
states
they
that
might
have,
do on beer or liquor.
the states that have legalized it, they've seen a drop in opioid addiction because they have access.
They're not searching for other highs.
Yeah, they can go. They can
They
go
have
get
a legal
pain
high.
management. The opioid problem had dropped, and it makes a lot of sense.
It
think-
makes perfect sense to
Yeah,
me.
I think we posted the article on our Facebook page. If you want to go check that out,
Yeah.
it'll be on there. But jar of suggestions.
Yeah, let's do
Oh,
it.
yeah, let's
I
do
put one
jar
in there a couple
suggestions.
weeks ago, so maybe we'll get
Okay,
mine.
that'd be cool.
How meta would that be? Quantum physics.
That's right.
Here it is.
Okay. Walmart escapades. Huh. I guess this is got any crazy stories
Is
about
that all it says?
Yeah, it just says Walmart escapades.
Well, besides, is that female handwriting?
Looks like it.
Walmart escapades. Besides the fruit sniffing,
Besides fruit sniffing, I don't know. You see something every day in Walmart.
Yeah. You do see a
The
lot of
last
stuff.
gripe I had about Walmart was all the old people on the scooters. Like every aisle was an old person on a scooter, and they were not pushing that thing to the metal. Like they were moving so slow
Yeah, I'm not a big
down the
fan of
middle.
scooters.
And
I
then
don't.
you go
I
to
don't
go
think they
around
go
them.
that fast.
Yeah.
They probably
I've
were
seen them
pushing
go
it.
faster
You've seen them.
than what they've.
Did you have your
and
radar
they'd
gun
stop
up,
right in the
Bill?
middle.
Were you clocking it? Did you have a stopwatch?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Bill.
Well, then how do you know? You got to be scientific about
I
these.
have to do that next time.
Yeah.
Get a radar gun, take it in.
Bill's sitting in the fruit section with a stopwatch.
All right, sir, you need
All
to
right.
speed up.
I
That
see your
is
foot's
really
not all the way to the
slow.
floor, sir.
Here's my problem with old people and scooters. I don't think it's a good idea to get somebody whose sight's failing, their senses are failing, a 700-pound device. They can run over other people's feet and run into other people's property.
That's true.
So that's the way I look at it. But of course,
Old people should just stay home.
or stay in a fine establishment.
Or
Fine.
find establishment.
Local establishment designed for old
that,
people.
I don't know. I know somebody that runs one around here.
I gotta tell you, I was in line behind somebody from that fine establishment one day, and I
Uh-oh.
guess she was buying stuff for like the residents,
Okay.
and she had a cart full of stuff. All the lines were long.
Yeah.
She was the only person in this line, and she was trying to tell me it was going to be a while. I was like, it's going to be a while everywhere I go in here, so whatever. She was going through individual purchases, that whole shopping cart. It was like 2 or 3 things
Yeah.
per sale, and she had it all memorized in her head, everything to get.
That's cool.
Yeah, like I sat there and was watching. I was amazed. I was like, "How in the world do you remember all that?" And she was keeping all the money separate.
I think I know who
and
did-
it was
does
like
that.
30 different transactions
That's
probably
crazy.
going on. Yeah,
That's pretty
so it
special
is a
gift
fine
there.
establishment if you got somebody like that.
Yeah,
can
she's
remember
pretty
that.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll say one Walmart. I just thought of one. You know, with the new ability to sell alcohol, well, Walmart at first did not figure this out because what they would do is they would have cashiers that were under 21 or whatever the age. Like if you're if you're a cashier and you're
figure
not
that
a
out.
certain age, you
can't sell
can't process that transaction. So they would have cashiers out there that were 18 years old, and you put your beer on the thing, and they would say, "I'm sorry, I can't bring you up for that. I got to go get somebody."
We had a lady
This
that,
was a
out of
problem for a
religious
while.
reasons, plenty old enough to sell,
Would
but
not do it.
refused. Like she would check people out for whatever, but if someone had consumed alcohol or was buying alcohol, one of us would have to go up and check them out.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Tell me about some closed-minded shit.
No kidding.
Woo.
But anyway,
Any other-
that problem, I haven't had that problem in a while.
Well, something happened to me that sort of pissed me off. Sort of don't want to say it, but it was pulled out of the box, so I can say.
Yeah,
it was-
bring it out, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I went to Walmart the other day,
Throw it on the table.
and I usually don't go to Walmart, but I usually like to go to a local store, WM Grocery. But they were closed because it's Easter, so I had to buy a bunch of stuff. I went to Walmart and I bought about $100 worth of stuff, and I went through the automatic teller and I got a 20 out, but I needed some change because I had to go buy some ice, which I didn't end up using, but anyway, I had to get some. And so I went back up to the lady and I said, "Could I have change for a 20?" I had to buy $100
At the
groceries.
register?
Well, you know how they got the. Well, I did the automatic self
At the
checkout.
at the
You know,
Self-checkout.
So the self checkout person.
but there's a person that mans that.
Oh, you went to
Yeah.
the self-checkout person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I just did self checkout. I needed
Oh,
some
yeah.
change. They said that's against our policy, and I said, "Man, I just bought $100 worth of groceries. You think you could give me? And you can't give me 20?"
You should have went to the service desk.
And I said, "Well, I just said thanks." And I said,
Yeah. I wouldn't have left there without my change.
Again, see, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Why is that their policy? There's got to be a reason.
in retrospect, I should have gone back and returned every item.
For cash.
Exactly. I said, "I need
Yes.
cash.
I need
please."
cash for these bananas.
Then I drive to damn Level Green to get my stuff.
That'll show them.
Hell yeah. Waste my whole damn day.
You probably go to Walmart over there too.
Spend 3 hours taking this shit back. And
I'll show these
drive it
Walmart
out.
people. I'm
So-
going to the other Walmart.
So at 9 o'clock at night, we could have a Easter. And I said, I showed them, didn't I?
Yeah, and that's you think about that. A lot of people you're talking about like being newly wet.
This is getting interesting now. This is why I
Some
tune
local
in.
people would talk about, oh well, I'm going to boycott that place. But then you see their ass in Walmart. Walmart sells it, and then they'll go somewhere 30, 40 minutes from here and go do their business there, and they're selling alcohol, but they're going to punish their
Their local,
local
business.
people.
It makes
Well, that shows you how smart the people
and
are.
also, these boycotts are very emotionally driven, I believe.
Yeah.
And so they don't last. And when you've made your statement and the issue, whatever it is, has died down, those people that say they're going to boycott whatever, they're going to be right back in there because it costs $1 less at Walmart than
Right.
it does anywhere else. And
Yeah.
they're going to end up spending the money on something that's more cost effective, regardless of their morals. So they're going to make their statement and then they're going to
Exactly.
forget about it. I promise you that's what people
Yeah,
do.
people are basically lazy.
And
Right.
Walmart, don't forget, you
So,
can
I
send
mean,
us
you just
money
need to
not
take-
to talk about you.
Exactly.
We're
And
going to
where
make
can
a
they
ton
send
of
that
money
to?
off of Walmart.
But if you give me change next time I ask, I may not. I will continue talking about you till you give me change.
But if they don't want us to talk about them, where can they donate
This
money?
really is turning into sort of a hostage situation.
You can send me 2 5s,
A 10, a 5,
10,
and 5 ones.
5 ones, exactly.
All right, we'll leave Walmart alone for a minute.
All right.
One more pick of the
Well, that was the subject that came out of the bowl. We didn't just pick
I
that.
wouldn't have brought it up, but you know.
We
Yeah,
didn't
the
pick
bowl brought it up.
bowl,
Nobody here did.
That's what I like about the bowl. The bowl don't care.
The bowl is,
It has no
it
conscience.
has no emotions.
Exactly.
Bill is, good sound effects, Bill.
CVS.
Stop breathing.
Okay, here we Kevin, I don't know if we're going to be able to answer this or not.
Top Gun.
Kevin, wait a minute. Kevin.
Bill, I forgot. What? Sure, we haven't booed him yet.
Oh, really? Oh, all right. Boo!
Thank you. Now I feel like I can function.
Tim hosts trivia every Tuesday night at Gerson's Garden, and every now and then he gets booed.
Yeah, we
At least once a night. It's
At least once a night. It's usually twice, sometimes 3 times. I think we booed you maybe 4 times one
I
night.
think the record might be 4. It was a particularly rough night. Nobody's thrown anything at me yet.
Yeah, don't hold your breath. That's probably coming.
At a vegetarian restaurant, there's a lot of tomatoes.
That's the
we'll
truth.
throw some tofu in your face.
Tofu.
Some
Okay.
fake meat cubes. All right.
So, Kevin, I don't know if you'll be able to answer this,
Okay.
but what was your first concert?
Ooh, first concert.
Have you ever been to a concert?
Kevin may or may not be Waylon Jennings.
I may or may not have gone to see Rush. I think I did, but
At least
I think I
dreamed
didn't.
about it, you know.
My first concert was probably, you guys are going to be,
Barney.
you talking about the dinosaur?
Yeah, the dinosaur.
Barney?
I love
Does he
you,
do-
you love me.
Does he do concerts? Like what?
Isn't there like Barney on
He
Ice?
used to. Yeah, there's Barney on Ice.
That's not what. It was probably some Christian rock band back in the 80s.
Oh, dear God.
Yes.
That sounds like hell.
In retrospect, yes.
And I apologize if anybody listens to that, but I think I'd rather listen to cats fucking than listen to any kind of Christian rock music.
Okay.
But that's the kind of like I was strictly forbidden from listening to rock and roll music.
Yeah, that is sinful.
So, how old were you during this concert?
Probably, I don't know. I mean, typical concert age, 10, 12.
Yeah.
You know,
Was anybody drinking?
not that I know of.
Was
If
anybody
they were,
smoking
I
dope?
would have had no suspicions whatsoever.
Was anybody smoking dope?
They could have been like I would probably not. If you had asked me that at the time, I would not know what you were talking about.
Yeah. At a Christian concert?
What
yeah.
is smoking dope? What is that? I don't.
Yeah.
That doesn't make
You
sense.
know, the reefer?
Yeah, you're speaking foreign language.
Yeah. It's not a concert unless there's alcohol involved and some kind of weird smell in the air.
So, Bill, what's your first concert?
My first concert was Hank Williams Jr.
See, that's a real
at the,
concert.
Yeah, that's good.
I was in 7th grade. My brother was allowed to take me. He didn't even finish the show. He was so
Wasted.
tanked. Yeah, so wasted. He ended up with his shirt off. Just
That always happens with beer, you know.
yeah, he had a whiskey
I have my
bottle
shirt
out
off
there
right
with him.
now.
I know it.
And Hank Williams Jr., if you don't want us to talk about you,
Kevin, stop
feel
grabbing
free
my
to
They're sweet.
send us money. We won't talk about you. But yeah, he was so hammered. They ended up just cutting the lights on. He tore apart the drum kit and was throwing it across the stage.
Good grief.
And that was the end of the concert.
No wonder he lit himself on fire, didn't he? Wasn't that the thing?
He
that
fell
happened?
off a cliff.
Yeah.
No wonder he fell off a cliff. Like whatever happened to his face.
That's
no,
what happened. He
no
fell
wonder
off a
it
cliff.
happened because the guy was just wasted all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was Mount Cheehaw it fell off.
No, it wasn't Mount
What?
Cheehaw. No. Well, okay, for shits and giggles. Yes, Hank Williams Jr. fell off of Mount Cheehaw.
That was somewhere local.
Nah, I think it was somewhere in the southeast, but I
Yeah,
don't think it was
I thought it
Mount
was around
Cheehaw.
here.
But
Oh, no, that was a friend of mine fell off Mount Cheehaw.
Oh yeah, Hank Williams, your buddy.
was
Yeah.
it Waylon Jennings?
Easy to get confused.
It was this
After
friend.
the
Did your
Jacksonville
buddy
concert?
mess up his face too?
It was this guy I went to high school with. His last name was War.
Huh.
You know, he was pretty cool. But
Did he hang out with Boozer?
no, he didn't hang out with Boozer. That was a different dude, different time. But anyway,
So mine was Hank Williams Jr., which is totally opposite from Tim's first concert.
Yeah, that's pretty much the
experience.
opposite. Yeah. Yeah.
Kevin, do you
okay,
remember?
I think it was Waylon Jennings, but I'm not sure it actually happened. It's sort of like a dream. And no. I think my first concert. Now I might be wrong about this. Was Six Flags. I saw Cheap Trick with Jimmy Buffett opened up for him.
Jimmy Buffett opening up for Cheap Trick.
Yeah, which is a weird combo when you think about it.
It is
Yeah.
kind of a weird combo.
But they both did a pretty good job.
I'm trying to think of my first real concert. Like,
Yeah.
probably was some kind of country
Boys to
music.
Men,
No. I
New Kids
wish.
on the Block,
I wish. Oh man.
Menudo.
It was probably some kind of. I think Clint Black or somebody was at Turner Field one time
Mm-hmm.
when I was in college. Yeah, I got started in life late.
I'm trying to think if I ever been to any other country concerts besides Hank Williams Jr. That might have been my only country concert.
I went to go see David Allan Coe at the Franklin Music Park.
You did go see him, or do you think?
No, well, this one I didn't ingest in any kind of illegal narcotics till we got there. Which is another story.
Until you got there.
So I know I made it there.
You remembered going.
Yeah, and what was funny, we ended up. It was David Allan Coe with Franklin, Georgia, which is not a very big town. They had something called a Franklin Music Park.
Yeah.
So we went to the Franklin Music Park, and we had I was with some friends of mine, and they may or may not have. We're sitting at the Franklin Music. Was this? It was like a big bar. So being a concert, we thought it was natural to smoke a little bit of weed. So they fired up some stuff, and these folks just started looking like they're crazy, but nobody said not to, so we didn't get kicked out.
Yeah.
But
that's a real concert.
I guess
That's a real concert.
This is a real concert.
Yeah.
Even though it was at Franklin Music Park, which didn't think lasted very long. But
you remember the fish show
Yeah,
I guess the last one we went to, and that guy was like Chris Farley in front of us.
Oh yeah, he was tripping out.
Oh, this guy was so off his rocker.
What was
He
it?
wasn't like your typical Fish fan. This guy was shit-faced drunk and probably on like some other stuff, but he couldn't walk straight, and he kept just coming up like, woo, wah! And he was just like staggering back and
was
forth.
like watching Chris Farley.
Yeah.
Like he'd go like from 10 feet to like right in front of your face, back to 10 feet, and then he'd just go on through the crowd and just keep doing it. And every now and then he'd come back around and do the same thing. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
And to this day, he doesn't know if he was there or not.
Yeah, he's like telling his friend
I
right
bet
now.
you that's the way I was. That's
may
Waylon
or
Jennings.
may
That was
not
Kevin
have
at
gone
Waylon Jennings, yeah.
That's why I can't remember. Woo, wait a minute. I think Johnny Cash actually played with him in that show.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny Cash.
He was
Before
like a
he died?
highwayman. He did some
Kevin,
highway
you could
songs.
say whoever you want was there.
Okay, well,
Was
all the
the-
highwaymen was
Right.
there.
Like
Was the Big Bopper there?
Elvis Presley was
No,
there.
no. Willie
Elvis
Nelson.
and Tupac.
Tupac.
They did a duet.
Elvis and Tupac. Oh, brother.
Okay.
All right, well, is it time for another Abraham Lincoln fact?
Yeah, give us an Abraham Lincoln fact.
Abraham Lincoln had a dog and a cat.
All right.
The dog's name was Fido. The cat's name was Tabby.
Fido and Tabby.
Fido and
That
Tabby.
sounds fictionalized.
That sounds like a gay person's pets.
Sounds like a bear's pet.
Sounds like the first president with a beard named some pets.
First president with a beard.
All right. That concludes Is Anybody in Here for April 6, 2018. Episode 8, Tim Fills In. Email Is Anybody in Here at isanybodyinhere@gmail.com. Also, our webpage is isanybodyinhere.com. Facebook, Is Anybody in Here Podcast. To support Is Anybody in Here, go to patreon.com and look us up. That's ZENYBODY. Thanks for listening.